experience the best. The Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
It's the two-fingered wave on a gravel road. It's letting the kids take dad's truck to prom. It's Friday nights under the lights of a hometown football field. Eustace Body Shop knows small towns. It's where our values are rooted. We treat our people right, and in turn, they treat you, our customer, right. And we give back to our communities. Not much more small town than that. Eustace Body Shop, small town service, big city technology.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Flowers and chocolate are great for Valentine's Day, but you know what really earns you bonus points? A massage. No, not from you, but from the professionals at the Body Shop. Now is the time to purchase a gift certificate for your significant other to make sure you're the big winner this Valentine's Day. Go to thebodyshoplincoln.com and select from their wide variety of specific massages. Once you've purchased, you can either print out the certificate or email it to the lucky recipient. Do Valentine's Day right this year with a massage from the Body Shop, right behind Eyeglass World at 56th and O.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Have you been looking for home technology upgrades but don't know where to turn? Online information can be contradicting and confusing. Lincoln's own experts at Diode Technologies can turn your living room into the place to watch your favorite sports. Whatever your vision is, Diode Tech is ready to make it a reality. From home theaters to outdoor entertainment spaces, they bring you along through the entire process to make sure you get exactly what you want. If you're ready to upgrade your entertainment space, visit Diode Tech online at diodetech.net or give them a call at 402-793-5124.
With so much financial uncertainty, are you wondering if retirement savings will last? Markets ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. Hi, I'm Edward Jones, advisor Ryan Bach. If you have more questions than answers about what's next, let's work together to help you ensure you're prepared for the journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek. It's a new beginning. Stop by our office at 8380 Old Cheney Road, Lincoln, Nebraska. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome, everybody, in to the newest show, I guess, on The Ticket, allegedly. I guess. Husker Diamond Report. Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. to noon. Nick Whyman, Tristan Gomes will rock with you until the cap off the morning on Saturdays. And this will be just a recap what's going on in Husker baseball, Husker softball, and whatnot. They obviously played some games yesterday, and softball, especially on Thursday, played a couple of games. And then we'll dive into those games / what's going on today and tomorrow, and what to look ahead is how we'll go. Obviously, as the season progresses, there'll be weekday games, and we'll be able to kind of touch base with those as the season progresses. As baseball opening day was yesterday. Tristan, opening day for baseball, there's nothing like it. I think I said it the other night. I think it's just, there's just a different feeling. I don't know how to describe it. Like it's like like there's obviously the NFL kicks off, football season comes around. There's that feeling. Basketball, obviously March Madness has its own type of feeling. Baseball is just it just hits you differently.
Yeah, I get a huge sense of just nostalgia when it comes to baseball opening day. I think of all the opening days that I had in my time in college at Cal State Fullerton and at Portland. And it's just one of those days where you realize, all the work that you put in the fall and in the spring leading up to the season, it's all here to pay off now. And instead of competing against your teammates and inter squads, there's someone else in that other dugout and you just want to win. And so you have that kind of mix of nerves and excitement. You got the butterflies. And then I think when that first pitch happens or you have your first at bat, you're just like, it's go time. Let's get into the season.
And yeah, Nebraska did that just last night. We'll start with baseball. Softball we'll do in the second segment, and then we'll wrap up the show in the third segment. So Husker baseball yesterday had to wait all day. Waiting all day is what they say. Usually for Sunday night is the slogan they say for Sunday Night Football. But baseball, you had to wait. There were a lot of games starting. I think the first game yesterday started at 8 o'clock Central Time in Puerto Rico between Houston and Wake Forest. That was the first official game of the NCAA baseball season in 2026. But Nebraska cruised to a nice little win over the UConn Huskies to begin the campaign 12-2. Gave up a run early and 1-0, but then everything clicked. Multi-hit games for a lot of guys. Good defense. It just looked like everything worked. The wind was blowing in. Austin said Austin's down in Scottsdale right now, but the wind was blowing in. It's kind of a bigger ballpark, spring training ballpark. Nebraska was able to find the gaps and be able to just gather momentum and roll from there on out.
Yeah, it was an impressive showing, and then obviously an impressive start. Ty Horn gets the start of the mound, which I think a lot of people expected. I think we all expected going into the season. And it wasn't his best stuff, but I think he did just enough to get outs and almost be effectively wild. He had a few walks, few hit by pitches. I think maybe just one hit by pitch. But in his outing, though, I think 4 2/3, he continuously just found ways to get out of innings. UConn continuously had guys left on base. And so I think for a start like that, for opening day as a pitcher, you're facing a top 15 offense from the previous year. And, a lot of credit to UConn. They are the preseason coaches poll, ending in first in the Big East. So this is a really solid team that they just beat in 7 innings and run ruled. And I think from a mound standpoint, Ty Horn did exactly what they needed him to do. It was throw strikes, get outs, and then, limit the damage when guys do get on base.
So UConn, you mentioned they've had the same coach since 2004. 3 times in a row they've won the regular season Big East title. So this is no slouch, no gimme win. UConn is the president of the Big East Conference. And they've won 34 plus games since 2021. Obviously, 2020 being an outlier because the season got canceled. But since then, they have won 34 plus games every season since. So they're and they've been in a super regional during that round. They've been in the regionals before. So they are experienced club, experienced team. And like you said, Ty Horn, 4 2/3, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 4 walks. Like obviously you'd like to see that number go down a little bit, but 6 strikeouts and just was 99 pitches. Pretty efficient. The bullpen, though, is really good. Caleb Clark comes in, gets the win, grabs 5 outs, no hits, 1 earned run. And then Tucker Timmerman back, got hit in the face last year. Obviously, that's kind of his claim to fame last year and kind of owned it. Got 2 outs, one hit, gave up a hit, no earned runs, no walks, and was just clean through that. And those 2 batters he faced. And what also helps is they only played 7 innings. Run rule win to begin the season. Your pitching saved after this weekend because this is just game 1. They still got 3 more the rest of this week.
Yeah, I think it's great that they do get the run rule because, like you said, that saves pitching, especially when you're playing in a 4-game weekend. You limit the guys that are coming out of the bullpen. And then, when Ty Horn goes 4 2/3 and you only need to throw 2 other pitchers who can likely be used later this weekend, I think that's a great start for the Huskers. And, from an offensive standpoint, it was fun to watch. It was the names that we talk about consistently when we talk about this Husker baseball team. It was Dylan Carey, and then transfer Cole Kitchens, and then Joshua Overbeek were kind of the guys that, lit a flame, in the bottom of that first inning. You give up that 1 run, and it's just, all right, how are you going to respond? How are we going to let this game go? And they did an unbelievable job. Cole Kitchens with the 3 RBI double to give the Huskers a 4-1 lead, and they just did not look back from that.
So you had guys with multi-hit games. Cole Kitchens being one of them. Southern Indiana transfer. First game as a Husker, 3 for 4 with a double and 3 RBIs. And that, that's exactly what you wanted. People like him and Jet Buck were the 2 transfers that Nebraska put a lot of stock in. A lot of people have kind of bought in. Those guys are going to embrace that role and step into a new team, a new system. and they look just like that. You have the pitching like that. Jeter Worthley made a history yesterday. I mentioned that on social media here. He ended up becoming the first Nebraska player to start as a true freshman at the catcher position on opening day this century. He also became the 11th true freshman to record at least one start at catcher since 2000. So very rare to see a catcher, a freshman catch, especially stepping into that role and being able to produce also offensively.
Yeah, I coached against him last year, and unfortunately had to face him in the state championship. But he was unreal. Yeah, when it comes from a catching standpoint, he's fundamentally sound back there. And in college baseball, that's what you need. The catching position. Obviously, you want production at the plate, but from a catching standpoint, it's all right. How many runs can I save? How many pass balls can I block and make sure that the other team isn't getting free bags? And then also, can I throw guys out if they do try to steal? And so, that's a lot of pressure for a freshman to get the start behind the plate, but then he's also leading off. He's the first Husker hitter of 2026, and he manages to get on base with a hit by pitch, and he ends the game 2 for 3. Especially him being a homegrown kid, it's pretty cool to see for the Huskers. And then as a true freshman, is absolutely tremendous.
I look at that first inning. You give up a run, top of the first, okay, you hit by pitch, and then you're able to just kind of weather the storm and grab a 4-0 lead, only getting 2 hits in that inning. That's just the way to jump on teams, and you grab momentum like that, especially a neutral site game. There were a lot of Husker fans out there. I noticed that while watching the game last night on MLB Network. Just to gather momentum, I think that's a big part of how Nebraska has rolled in the Will Bolt era. Just to gather momentum, be able to step on the gas, and not just. And then that's what they did yesterday. UConn kind of had that early run, and it was like, okay, we'll see what happens. Maybe this is going to be a pitcher's duel. No, Nebraska jumped on it early and just kept going, found gaps, and that is just what led to them to be able to just take advantage. And like I said, UConn's no slouch, and they're not playing slouches this weekend. Northeastern today, Stanford on Monday, Grand Canyon. It's going to be a fun time. It's so weird seeing them play in these spring training ballparks, though. Like Nebraska is invited to these tournaments. It's a privilege to kind of play in these kind of tournaments too. Played last night, and now they're going to play at Sloan Park, where the Cubs play their spring training against Northeastern. This game, I mean, here's what I think about baseball. It's you control what you control. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. You're going to lose games. Nebraska's not going to go 16-0. It's just baseball. As a player, Tristan, how do you kind of control those things? Because let's say next 2 days something goes wrong and you go into Monday just trying to end on a high note. How do you kind of control what you can control and not get too high, not get too low in those moments?
Yeah, I think it's just taking it one day at a time. And I've been on teams where we've lost 5 to 10 straight, and then also teams that we've won 10 straight. So it's all about finding that momentum when things aren't going your way. You just got to find a way to flush it. Think back to the times that you were having a lot of success and go, okay, what were we doing then that we can do now? And then for this Husker team, you went on opening day, and obviously there's a lot of season left, but celebrate this. This is a huge victory, and then this just carries momentum into the rest of the weekend, the rest of the season. And when you have the bats hitting like that, I think that's what a lot of teams need, especially in this opening weekend, is to show that, all right, we can hit. Like, we can really hit, and we can put up runs and just put together big innings. And so when you know that, and you've seen that in action, you have the results that show that just builds the confidence for the rest of the weekend, just going, yeah, we can hit anyone, and we can beat good teams. And so I think going into today against Northeastern, it's all right, let's do exactly what we did yesterday. Let's, throw strikes on the mound. Let's get out of innings. Don't allow any big innings, and then create big innings on offense by drawing walks, hit by pitches, and then having guys hit, doubles, triples, all over the place.
And as always, if you want to join in the conversation, if you're watching on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, or Allo Channel 961, hit us up, 402-464-5685. Bill and Bennett says, how does Joshua Overbeek have that much pine tar on his batting helmet already? Or is it left over from last season? I mean, he's kind of pulling a book out of Alex Gordon. Alex Gordon always used to have the pine tar. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, and to have guys like that, these veteran guys, Nebraska, bringing back about 50% of their offense. They did lose quite a bit, but to already have the bats going, pitching, have Ty Horn. Ty Horn obviously had an up and down year last year. He struggled to start and found it out as the season went along. It was red hot come postseason play, especially in the Big Ten tournament up in Omaha. I just to be clicking on the right and just being on the right foot, I think is a good thing to have, because you go this weekend and something, things go wrong. You start 1-3 or 0-4. You start looking at the season, then you look at the schedule. there's a lot more competition coming up. So to win a game against a team like UConn, who is, the pedigree of Big East baseball, they have been a well-coached team, solid team. Nebraska was able to find some gaps and be able to kind of stomp on the neck and get it out of the way. So today, they play at 7:30, so you're going to have to wait a little longer than yesterday. Yesterday was at 7 o'clock first pitch. 7:30 against Northeastern, who also is no slouch. They have made a regional the past couple of years. They've given teams fits in those games as well as a 3 seed or a 4 seed. So it's the battle of the red ends. Nebraska's got the red end. They also have a logo that's very similar to Nebraska's. I find that kind of funny that they're playing each other at Sloan Park tonight. MLB.com is the way to watch. You just go on the website and you can find the stream to watch this game at Sloan Park in Arizona. I guess looking at the pitching matchup, so Andrew Wirtz is going for UConn, right-handed pitcher. They went lefty Charlie West yesterday. Carson Yassa is pitching today. He had an up and down year last year. He had about an 80 ERA. So I guess in redshirt his first year, then had that last year. I guess what are you looking to see out of him while he takes the mound today?
Yeah, I think it's just don't let the moment get too big. Obviously, he's in this starting position for a reason, coming out of last year where he only had, I think maybe 11 appearances and, just a few innings coming out of the bullpen more consistently. And then when you get into that starting role this year, it's, you've put in the work that is giving you that opportunity. So when he steps onto the mound today, it's, the coaching staff, my teammates, they believe that I should be in this position. So it's, throw strikes, attack hitters, go through the scouting report of the guys that you know about and just go, if they're struggling, let's establish the outside corner. If we can hit the outside corner and then we can mix a few breaking balls or off speed in there, then we're going to have a ton of success. I think it's when you're, wild, you're not confident, very inconsistent is when you lose the umpire's trust, but also the opposing team in Northeastern is going to notice that and go, all right, but let's just be on time for the fastball. He's going to miss middle at some point. So I have the confidence in him of just going in there, throwing strikes. And it's early in the season, make guys hit. When you walk guys, you get into, long counts. That's when other teams take advantage of that. So force contact and let your defense go to work.
You mentioned taking advantage. Nebraska took advantage of free passes in that 7th inning. Or UConn did. UConn was able to do that, but Nebraska was able to just kind of weather the storm. That I think Nebraska's timely hitting is what really got them going last night. Scored 12 runs on 16 hits, get the bats going, guys with multiple hits, came out of house of fire. When you're playing like that, gathering momentum, that's huge. But Carson Yassa, you look at you said 11 appearances last year, only 4 games started last year, went 2-2, an 8.68 ERA. You'd like to see that lower, obviously, but he was a redshirt freshman last year and got thrown into some high leverage situations. 24 strikeouts and 18 1/3 innings. The keynote that, you see the 8 ERA that kind of jumps out to you. He limited opposing hitters to only a 237 batting average. So you're hoping that kind of experience he had where he probably got roughed up in a couple games seeing that ERA, you're hoping that batting average carries over to this year.
Absolutely. When it comes to him stepping on the mound this year, it's, that when you are throwing strikes consistently, you're a tough guy to hit off of. It's where, like we talked about, if you're allowing the free passes, allowing the walks, and then, you allow 2 walks and then someone does end up getting a hit down the line or something like that, that's where the big innings come and that ERA rises. So it's all about just throwing strikes, forcing the contact. And then also, like we talked about with Ty Horn yesterday, this is opening day. And for this whole team, there is so much season left. As much as you want to win every single game, this is a time where you kind of get your feet wet and you just go, all right, what can I work on? So when, Big Ten play comes up, we're ready to go and we're playing the best baseball.
So you're looking at this Northeastern team, Nebraska, again, 7:30 first pitch on MLB.com against Northeastern. Northeastern last year went 49-11 last year. That's a pretty good baseball record. Pretty good. But yesterday they also opened their season. They played at the same time as Nebraska. They played Grand Canyon. They lost 10-0 in 7 innings. So this is a team that's not only looking for their first win, but also looking for their first run. And like you said, they're going to be a team that's going to, hey, this is game 1 of many. Wipe the slate clean, flush it, move on. We have a chance to play a Power 4 team now, which is not the only power. They have Iowa on Sunday as well at Salt River Fields in Scottsdale. And then they're playing the Red Sox in a exhibition game as well. So that's cool to see. That's at spring training gearing up on Friday. They also play Minnesota too. So they have a nice little Big Ten slate. They play Minnesota next weekend. So they'll get 4 of their next 5 games are against Big Ten competition. But for Nebraska, I mean, I think carrying momentum is a huge deal in baseball, especially if you win a game against a team like UConn, 12-2 in 7 innings. You're playing a team that struggled. Look at their stats. I mean, they only had 4 hits, an error. They got pounced on too. I mean, 4-0 after 1 inning. They're kind of in the same boat as kind of a UConn. They just kind of started the season on the wrong foot. But as you know, baseball, any given day,
especially for this Northeastern team, I think, they are excited that they get to leave the Northeast where it's frigid right now and full of snow, and they get to be playing baseball in Arizona. And so they're a team that's going to be coming down there excited to play. And when you do get the opportunity, me being from a mid-major at Portland, when you get the opportunity to play these, big, Power 4 schools, I remember we played Texas A&M, and it was like the highlight of our season. Northeastern playing a team like Nebraska, playing Iowa, they want these guys because they want to look back at their resume and go, oh, yeah, we beat Nebraska. And if Nebraska ends up doing extremely well in the Big Ten, they go, oh, yeah, we have that. We won that. We beat them. And so these are the games that the mid-major teams really get excited for and get up for. And so, yeah, this is no slouch, and Nebraska's has their work put in for them.
So you look at the rest of the weekend. Obviously, it's tonight, 7:30 against Northeastern. And then they'll go tomorrow night, 6:30 Central Time against Grand Canyon, back at Sloan Park. And then they'll play a Monday afternoon game, 2:00 Central Time against Stanford, back at Salt River Fields at Talking Stick in Scottsdale. So that'll be their weekend here. I mean, like I said, look at softball. Softball was about 500 going into last weekend. If you go, 2-2 after that weekend, I'd say that's pretty successful because you're playing some quality teams. Grand Canyon's always solid. Like we mentioned, Northeastern only lost 11 games last year. And then Stanford baseball's been doing, they were in the Pac-12 a couple years ago, and they were solid. Pac-10, whatever you want to call it. And then next weekend when we're here, look at the schedule ahead. They go down to play in the M&G Bank College Baseball Series in Arlington. They got Louisville on Friday, K-State on Saturday, and then Florida State on Sunday. So no rest for the Cornhuskers. And then after that, if you look even further, before they make their home opener on March 3rd, they have a 3-game set with Auburn from the 27th to the March 1st. So, I mean, any win in this stretch, I would say, is a good win.
Yeah, and this is the time that you want to play these teams. We're seeing Husker softball do it, which we'll get into, you want to play the best. And so getting into conference play, all right, where are we at? Where can we be better at? Is it, we need to maybe play a little bit more small ball. We need better 2-out hitting, limit the strikeouts with runner in scoring position. It's just kind of those things that right now you want to play good teams, because then as the season progresses, what you need to be better and to be at the top. But yeah, I think it's super cool that Nebraska has the opportunity, get away from home a little bit, build that chemistry with the team, and then, just go play and win baseball games against opponents you're not going to play most years. And so, yeah, this is super cool. And being down in Arizona right now, it's just a time to not take for granted and just, continuously find things that you can improve on.
You mentioned teams they haven't played. Northeastern is one of them. This is only the second meeting all time between the two schools. Nebraska picked up an 8-6 win over the Huskies in 2021 in regional play when they were in Arkansas. Yep. That was a really good Nebraska baseball team then, challenging Arkansas, who was, I believe, was number 1 in the country that year.
Yep, ended up losing to NC State in a super regional.
Man, what a time! I remember watching it because I think it was on ESPN Plus, and it was because obviously the season before that got canceled after a handful of games. So, I mean, then Northeastern baseball, like I said, they've been a tricky team from time to time. But we're gonna go to break here in a second. When we come back, we will be going to shift gears to Nebraska softball. They are obviously also playing the best of the best in the nation in Clearwater, on the other side of the United States, in Clearwater, Florida. You're listening to Husker Diamond Report. Nick Whyman, Tristan Gomez here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service, bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Here's Stacy from Petal Creations.
Ordering flowers is intimidating if you don't know what you're doing.
Petal Creations experts care about designing a bouquet that conveys your special message from the heart.
You deserve to have a personal florist that you can depend on, who can take your message, turn it into a bouquet, and deliver it in a timely manner. And the rest is up to you.
Pedal Creations in the Edgewood Shopping Center or at pedalcreations.com.
So give us a call. We've got you.
Bundle up, bring your crew, and make this winter one for the books with Bachfest on Saturday, February 21st at Beer House. Enjoy winter brews that will tangle with your taste buds, polka dancing, games like Hammerschlagen and Stein Stamina, and more. Bach beer will be flowing and sausages and pretzels will be available for purchase. Doors open at 11 a.m. and the party goes outside until 6 p.m. before moving inside. VIP tickets are $75, but just $10 gets you in the door. Buy your tickets today at beerhousene.com for Bachfest on Saturday, February 21st. All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
I'm Alfred Nobel, the inventor of dynamite. So the Nebraska Lottery has asked me to talk about the Cash Blast promotion. Until March 24th, buy a 2x2 ticket and get a voucher. Enter online for a chance to win a $5,000 or $500 weekly prize. If you're winning vouchers from a 7-day draw ticket, your prize is doubled. So when can I explode the dynamite?
No dynamite in the studio, Dr. Nobel.
How about a cherry bomb?
No.
Sparkler?
Sorry.
2x2 top prize odds are 1 in 105,000.
If you're a farmer, you need to hear this game-changing news about crop insurance. It's now possible to protect up to 95% of your farm's revenue, not at the county level, but down to your individual fields. At Trados, we help farms design protection that works with their marketing plan, not in isolation. The key isn't buying another product. It's understanding how coverage, grain marketing, and your operation work together. As hail and wind rates continue to increase, now's the time to ask better questions. Call us today or visit gotrados.com to start protecting 95%. That's GOTREDAS.com. Trados, ingrained in your success.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new Delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the Husker Diamond Report. Nick Whyman, Tristan Gomes here. With you till the top of the hour before we send it off to Ray Lee Coe. Sounds like Delmagro, head coach for the tennis team, will be in as well here in the next half hour. And then we'll have Chopping It with Chubbs. And then we will have Nebraska basketball post-game, which will be around 2 o'clock after their game against Northwestern over down the road at Pinnacle Bank Arena. But yeah, we're back here. 402-464-565. That's our Heyman Jewelers text line. We just got done talking about Husker baseball. Let's move on to the softball team. The softball team obviously went 3-2 this past weekend, playing in the UTSA Invitational. Took down Texas, split games with them, beat UTSA, and then split with Washington. They turned their attention to Clearwater, Florida at the Shriners Children's Invitational, one of the marquee tournaments in college softball. There are double-digit ranked teams at this event. You're seeing quality games over and over and over. This is and Nebraska's had a couple of this. Let's start with Thursday. Let's start with Thursday morning, 9 o'clock start. They played LSU. LSU, another top 15 ranked team. And Nebraska, as advertised, handled business against the Tigers. I mentioned it last week when we talked on Ticket Weekends. Jessie Farrell, spark plug. She's the one who came out, RBI double in the third inning, and was able to put them up with that run. And then after that, a throwing error, a couple flyouts. Jordy Fromm had a couple hits that drove in runs. Hannah Kamenzan with a double. And then they were just able to shut down LSU, which was a solid way to start this tournament.
Yeah, Alexis Jensen is unreal. I want to highlight just the pitching side of that. When you're facing, a top 15 team in the country and you're able to have a shutout, it's extremely impressive, especially as a true freshman. Like, that just does not happen. And she had, 6 strikeouts, and then Jordy Fromm comes in relief, bases loaded, jam, things could have got out of hand, and you just put it away and you win 6-0 against the Tigers. And I think, this is what we talked about, baseball wise, is you want to play the best just so, going into conference play, where you stand, what's, you need to work on. And, I think that's a huge win to start out the weekend on Thursday against LSU. And then, you had some tougher opponents, which we can get into, so far, yesterday. And now it's, in the weekend, how do we finish this weekend strong?
In that win, Alexis Jensen got her second win of the season, 4 innings pitched, 1 hit against a really good LSU lineup. Walked only 1, and then 7 strikes. The thing I look at her is the walks are down. She's not walking batter. She's throwing strikes. She's pounding the zone. And then I think it's just a good complimentary for Jordy Fromm, because now you don't have to rely on one arm to get you going. And if Jordy runs into trouble, which we'll get into, there was a couple of situations, you can turn to somebody like Alexis Jensen who can compliment you, in the circle, which helps. I it's not like baseball where you have 10 arms, 15 arms at your disposal. Softball, some teams have 1, and that's what they roll with. And sometimes that becomes an Achilles heel when you don't have a good day. And that's Nebraska, I think, with Alexis Jensen, true freshman, being able to compete at a high level against these teams. The moment is not too big for her.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of pressure off of Jordy that, she doesn't have to obviously produce, at the plate how she typically does, but she also doesn't have to be, the just arm every single game on the mound. It's nice when you do, like you just said, if Jordy's not having her best day, you have Alexis that can come in, or vice versa. If Alexis isn't having her best day, you still have one of the top pitchers in the country. And Jordy, I believe, is, the best two-way player in the country. And so, yeah, she can focus on, just dominating the plate some days and coming out of the bullpen and shutting it down. So, yeah, I think this helps this Husker team in the depth because they have it in the lineup. And I think adding it on the mound is just a huge addition.
So after that win over LSU, they had a little bit of a break, played at 9 a.m. Game got over around 11 o'clock Central Time in the morning. And then they played Georgia, they were ranked number 20 in the nation. So a break, I guess, in a sense, but then you have to focus on another quality top 25 opponent down in Clearwater. This time on the wrong end of a 6-5 loss. Kind of dug themselves into a little bit of a hole. They were down, They were down 6-2 after 3 innings, kind of chipped away back, but too little too late. The offense kind of went cold there. They had a little bit of streak there in the 3rd inning. Ava Kuzak, Jessie Farrell again. Jessie Farrell, a double and a home run in this game. I think she, so far, is kind of you won the portal entry for her, with not only with the plate, but also at catcher. One weekend, it's like, okay, you have a hot weekend, solid debut as a Husker. Let's see if you can keep it up. I think she's legit, Tristan, so far.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to attacking the transfer portal, especially these day and ages, you don't want to swing and miss. You want to find the right girls for your program. And that's exactly what the Huskers did with Jessie Farrell. And yeah, anytime a catcher is, doing their work behind the plate, but then at the plate, they are just dominant. And right now, she has been the Huskers' most consistent and best hitter this year when it comes to not only getting on base, but also bringing runners in, which has been extremely impressive. And yeah, in this Georgia game, just a little slow start from the Huskers, and Georgia got out to a hot start at 6-2. And then, yeah, the Huskers chip away, actually out hit Georgia 11-9 in that one. But unfortunately, 2 errors as well for the Huskers that kind of set them back and allowed some runs for Georgia. But I think in a loss like this, you don't take it too hard and you understand, yeah, we're competing with, arguably the other best conference in softball in the SEC, and we are playing really tough opponents. And, we lose by 1 to this, we beat the other, and then we take on Tennessee next.
Yeah, the one error was on a fielding error in the 3rd inning, which added to Georgia's lead. And then there was also a pass ball in that same. So that one inning kind of got away from you. Look at the innings, how the runs. There was 1 in the first, 2 in the second. That 3rd inning was 3 runs. So, and then from that on, they shut out Georgia. Just 1 inning kind of dug them in, and that kind of did it. So if you kind of limit the errors, the game could have gone a different way. You look at it that way. And Nebraska did chip away, like I said, 2 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th. And then 1 in the 7th, Hannah Kamazan again with a single that drove in Jordy Fromm, but just too little too late against another quality opponent. But then I think the big one, I mean, they're all big ones if you look at this tournament. But the one that really kind of caught my attention when I looked at the schedule when it came out was number 3, Tennessee. These teams have history. Less than a year ago, played in the Super Regionals against one another. And Nebraska was 1 game away from going to Oklahoma City, and the team that stole that way were the Vols. This game, Nebraska, yesterday they played against Tennessee, and they fell 4-1. And this game, Nebraska limited to 1 hit, and they're going up against probably one of the top, I would say top 3, and she's probably not number 3 out of the bullpen from Tennessee. So Carlin Pickens got the save, 3 innings, walked 3 batters, but no hits. 4 strikeouts, top pitchers around 75 miles per hour, which an equivalent to baseball, it's like throwing a 100-mile-per-hour fastball.
Yeah, it's hard.
I mean, what are you supposed to do in that situation? It's like they pitched 2 other pitchers before that, and then you bring her out of the bullpen. It's like, oh, and she's been unhittable. She had the fastest pitch recorded against Nebraska back last May.
Yeah, those are honestly some of the toughest pitchers to face, I think, is, how she did have the 3 walks and with 4 strikeouts, is the pitchers that are honestly so wild that it's tough to get any read because they throw so hard that you're like, all right, I need to be on time. You almost have to like start swinging before the ball's even released. And then you also have to recognize if it's a ball or a strike. And so those are, pitchers that are really tough to get in a rhythm with, because honestly, I like facing a guy who maybe they are throwing, upper 9s, but I know that they're throwing strikes. Like it might be, on the outside corner, but I know they're throwing strikes. She almost is just effectively wild. And when you throw as hard as her, it's hard to get any hits, which obviously the Huskers didn't, but did manage to get 4 walks in that one against her. But yeah, this Tennessee pitching staff might be one of the best in the country. And yeah, I mean, I think Jordy Fromm did a great job, did what she could on the mound against, the number 3 team in the country, giving up 4 runs, and that's where it stayed at. And Alexis Jensen out of the bullpen doesn't give up any. So this Husker pitching staff is, keeping them in there in these games. It's just, they need to almost just match. When we have a great outing on the mound, let's find a way to do the same thing at the plate, because I think in these losses, it's been a little of one or the other.
Yeah, this game, Justy Farrell, I think we plugged her every time. I feel like the offense, somehow she's gotten the offense going. 3rd inning, she gets the scoring started with a flyout. The scores Hannah Core, the other transfer for the Cornhuskers offense, puts them up 1-0. So far, so good. You're about almost hitting that halfway point of the game, leading 1-0. And I think that's where I kind of anticipate this being a pitcher's duel. Low scoring game. That's what it was last year in the Super Regionals when Nebraska met the Vols. But then that 4th inning, they get a single up the middle, throwing error. That scores a run, ties the game, and then it's okay, tied up, or back to 0-0 ball game. 5th inning comes around, double, and then that wild pitch that scores a run. Go down 4-1. It was just the little things that have kind of made the difference in these games, especially when you're playing top, teams that are made the trip to Oklahoma City multiple times.
Yeah, I think it's the pressure of these games that makes you realize, once we get into postseason play, because I believe the Huskers are going to be there, and their goal this year is to make it to Oklahoma City and play in that Women's College World Series. And so right now it's, all right, these are the little things that are losing us these games against these top opponents. And right now you're 1-2 on the weekend playing all ranked teams. And then you have an unranked opponent today in UCF. And I think going into this one, it's, let's win this one. Let's be 2-2. And then you head into Sunday to take on the number 1 team in the country in Texas Tech. You beat the number 1 team already once this year. You got a new number 1 team. Take care of business today. Don't, get too far ahead, because if you are 2-2 on the weekend and that rubber match comes to give yourself a winning record for the weekend against Texas Tech, you want to be excited and ready for that one.
Before we look at the rest of the weekend ahead for Nebraska softball, I want to look at the pitching again in this Tennessee game. Jordy Fromm gets a start, 4 2/3, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts, and a wild pitch. 1-3 record for Jordy so far. 1-3 record as a pitcher. I did not see that entering the year. 1-3 next to her name. Very unusual. I think it's just a slow start. I would not hit the panic button yet. I think it's just a slow start because you're playing these neutral site games. You're playing, you played last weekend in San Antonio. Now you're playing in Clearwater, and then you look at the opponents you're playing. You're playing teams who are going to be, you're going to see more than likely down the road once postseason play begins. So I would not take the stats what they are right now in those first 4 decisions he's had. But Alexis Jensen, again, out of the bullpen, freshman facing Tennessee. You think, okay, she's just playing for Gretna less than a year ago, playing winning state titles when they play out there in Hastings at the state, and then they move the tournament to Omaha for the championship. Pitching against the best of the best in Nebraska, goes up against Tennessee, who's been a softball school and been very good. 2 1/3, 1 hit, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, no earned runs. She was kind of able to weather the storm and not let that inning kind of get out of control. And then you lose respectfully a 4-1 game where it's not, shows up on the scoreboard like 11-1 or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to Jordy, I am not worried whatsoever. I don't even think the panic button's in the room with us. Just because that she is going to be dominant. And like we kind of talk about for other sports when it comes to the preseason is, do you want to play just a whole bunch of mid-major schools just so you get the wins? And, Jordy could be 4-0 right now, 5-0 if we're playing against some MAC softball teams or things like that. They're playing the best of the best. And so, as a pitcher especially, I think it's great to be facing these teams where, maybe in the record, it's not exactly what you want, but you go, okay, yeah, when we face good teams, I can't miss this pitch here. And I need to execute this a little bit better. And I think that's exactly what Jordy's going to do. She's been playing college softball for quite some time now, and she's been dominating it as long as she has been playing. So I think she'll, get back into just the bullpen and the drawing books and just go, all right, this is what I need to work on. And, once we continue this season, it's still early. She's going to be dominant, and I don't think there's any reason to worry.
So when we come back from break, we'll preview the softball teams. Weekend ahead, they play UCF today. We'll talk a little bit about them. And then the marquee, I guess, the last of the games left for this weekend down in Clearwater, Nebraska has as you mentioned, another top 10 test, a number 1 test as they beat Texas last weekend. Why not knock off another number 1, which is in the realm of possibilities again. And Texas Tech was a runner-up last year, and they lost to Texas. So crazy that the schedule works out that way. That's what happens, like you said, when you schedule the best to the best, you play the best. What was the Ric Flair? It's like, to be the man, you got to beat the man. You got to beat the man or whatever. This is the same situation. You have to play the best. So we'll be right back. 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Nick Whyman, Tristan Gomes. We'll be right back here on 93.7 The Ticket.
At Raising Cane's, we focus on making the most craveable chicken finger meals, getting them right every time. That's why we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, salt every fry, squeeze every lemon, and brew every ounce. We do this inside every Raising Cane's, every day, because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top-quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the premier indoor golf experience in the state. The weather in the winter months is cold, windy, and as unpredictable as a tee shot on the 450-yard par 4. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators and a PGA teaching professional, Back Nine Golf is there to help you improve your game and lower your score. Back Nine Golf is open to the public with 24/7 access for members. Learn about Back Nine's variety of memberships today and see the facility for yourself at 7501 South 15th Street in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Back Nine Golf, your premier indoor golf and events destination.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
And we're back. Husker Diamond Report, Nick Whyman Tristan Gomes. I got it right every time this show. Got it right. Not Austin. If you're listening, Austin, no shots at you. We're just an inside joke at this point. We just got done talking about the Nebraska softball's week so far. They've played a bunch of quality opponents out in Clearwater, Florida, but there's still games to be played as they are playing later this afternoon for Nebraska. 4-4 so far. They're playing here in about a little over a half an hour, actually. 12:30 Central Time start against the Central Florida Knights, playing that game at Eddie C. Moore Complex. UCF so far, you mentioned, they're the only non-ranked team that Nebraska hasn't played this weekend. However, you look at their schedule, they are pretty solid. 7-2 in the Big 12 Conference. They lost to 16th ranked Duke last week to open the season. But they do have some quality wins. They beat Northwestern in Clearwater so far, 6-4. And then they played Georgia and they lost in 5 innings yesterday, 13-5. So other wins they have this year, they beat Missouri, they beat Maryland multiple times, and wins over Cal State Bakersfield and Boston University during the first week of the regular season. So they're as advertised. They are a top Big 12 team. They've made regionals before. They're no slouch. You look at 4 of your 5 games against ranked teams, like, oh, this might be the off game. There is no off games, especially in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think still for Nebraska is, you might not have exactly the record that you want and you've lost a few games. You're still a team that teams really want to beat, especially when you have Jordy Fromm and you have some other girls who are some of the top players in the country. They want to beat you. And so I think for Nebraska in this one, it's, all right, we showed glimpses of how well we can hit. We've showed glimpses of how well we can pitch. Let's put it together in this one. And so going into Sunday against Texas Tech, we're feeling as confident as ever. But yeah, this is a team that, knows winning. They've made it to regionals and they're 7-2 right now. They expect to win games like this. And for Nebraska, it's just staying positive. You've lost the last 2 and don't let, this, snowball effect. Just, get back to the drawing board and go to work today.
And we saw that last week in San Antonio. You lose 15-10 to Texas on a Friday night late game, 15-10 in the game between 2 of the most star-studded pitchers in college softball. 15-10, that ends up being the score. Unusual, I would say, and that just happens. But look what they did. Less than 24 hours later, literally a week ago, they beat Texas.
Yeah,
that was number 1. And now you get another crack at number 1 again. They're playing Texas Tech, number 1. And rightfully so. Look at their schedule so far. McNeese tournament. They beat McNeese State in 5 innings. They beat North Texas in 5 innings. They beat Louisiana Monroe in 5 innings. They won all of those games by 8 or more runs. 10, 8, and 12. After that, they played Texas A&M, beat them 3-2. Beat Providence 13-1 in 5 innings. Beat Bryant 12-0 in 5 innings. And then they come into this tournament. Played Florida State, beat them 3-2. Second close game of the year. They, A&M was 3-2. And they played Northwestern 5-0. And then they played Florida Atlantic, who's ranked number 23rd in some polls, beat them 8-0 in 5 innings. So they have run ruled over half their opponents this year. So the pitching's there. They're hitting the ball. They're scoring 8 or more runs in majority of their games. A couple of those games 3-2 against some quality opponents. So you're hoping that, like you said, wipe the slate clean. You're playing another number 1. Have fun out there. That'll be a marquee game. That game's on ESPN tomorrow. So no football season's over. Softball, that should be probably one of the biggest games of the season. I knew the Texas one was obviously one of the biggest ones, but now you have this game that is going to really stand out.
Yeah, Najari Kennedy is obviously, she was player of the year last year. She's, the best pitcher in college softball right now. And I think you just, for Nebraska, you're playing with house money in this one. A loss to the number 1 team, the, reigning runner-up, is a game that you just go and you play loose, you play freely. And I think that's how they defeated Texas last weekend in that second game, is they realized, all right, we can compete with this team. I think you go into this game against Texas Tech feeling the exact same way and just go, yeah, we're gonna play with house money. And, we're going to just try to scratch together some runs. And on a pitching side, you have confidence in whoever gets the start in Jordy or Alexis. And you just say, yeah, we're going to make plays behind you. And if we keep it close towards the end, we got a shot at this one.
I think that's the key, is playing clean defense, because the games they have ended up on the wrong end of is just because of some of the spiral out of control. Some one inning. There's only 7 innings in most games. And usually if you lose one inning, that kind of has done them. So far in this 4-4 start. So they have those games today, 12:30 on ESPN Plus, playing Central Florida, And then at 5 o'clock, they will play number 1 Texas Tech tomorrow. That game you can see on ESPN. I think that's really cool for the game, too. Softball, obviously, this tournament at ESPN has done a pretty good job of promoting. They've had some pretty marquee matchups. Just to have that game on a Sunday afternoon and to have that game be on their main network, I guess, how important do you think that is, not only for both these teams who rightfully deserve it, but also the sport in general?
Yeah, I think we're seeing it. I think it's so cool to see how much that just like Huskers women's sports are helping just women's sports in general. You look at the Husker volleyball team that continuously got more and more primetime games on live television. And I think this Husker softball team is in a similar fashion. When you have some of the best players in the country and then you're facing the best pitcher in the country, you are going to be put in an opportunity to be seen by a lot of people. And so I think just how Huskers women's sports has just paved the way for women's college athletics in general is super cool to see. And I think going forward, it's only going to get bigger and bigger.
So that is all we have for today. But next weekend, we'll be recapping Nebraska's week of what they've had for baseball. Softball, you look at their schedule. They started in San Antonio, Southern State. Then they go out to Clearwater for this weekend with a lot of marquee games. They'll make the trip west to Cathedral City, California. I don't know where that is in California. I don't know, but it's a city in California. But they will play Friday. They have a game against South Carolina and Hawaii on Friday, 12 and 2:30. And then they'll play Saturday against A&M, another top 15 team as mentioned. And then they'll cap off the week against Seattle and Cal. So Nebraska's making the cross-country trip. If you map up the map, you go to San Antonio, Clearwater, and then they're going to make the other trip there. I don't know how they do it. They're
playing everyone.
That is a crazy schedule. Play
everyone everywhere.
And then their first home game's not until March 5th when they play South Dakota. They'll also play Oklahoma State before then too, multiple times. You're playing, like I said, the quality opponents don't stop. It's kind of crazy how that schedule shaked out, especially just I don't know how you plan that out and get that going. But we're out of time. Ray Lee Coe will be up next. Del Magro, head coach, will be in here as well. So that's really cool to see. He's been on one-on-one a couple of times with DP. The rest of the evening, Chopping Up with Chubbs will be at 1. And then 2 o'clock, around 2 o'clock, we'll have Nebraska basketball postgame. They are playing Northwestern here in a matter of moments. And the Huskers and the Wildcats tipping off at Pinnacle Bank Arena at the top of the order. Nick Whyman, Tristan Gomes, Husker Diamond Report. We'll see you guys next week.